Ton lived in a tiny township called Mogola. Every morning, he watched rich men drive past in shining cars. Their clothes were sharp and clean, their watches sparkled, and their voices carried confidence. Ton always told himself, one day, I will be like them. I will leave this dusty road and become rich. He dreamed of wealth so much that he sometimes forgot to eat. His mind was full of mansions, money, and fame. He did not notice the simple beauty around him, the trees, the birds, or the laughter of children playing. His eyes were locked on a dream far away. In Ton's class was a quiet boy named Kofi. He walked with wooden crutches because one of his legs had been weak since birth. He always had a gentle smile, even when climbing stairs slowly. Many children ignored him, but he never complained. Kofi noticed Ton's restless spirit. He saw how Ton rushed through lessons, always worrying about money instead of learning. Kofi wished he could talk to him, but Ton never looked his way. Their words were close in distance but far in heart. Auntie Marembi was the oldest woman in the township. Her hair was as white as morning fog, and her voice carried wisdom like a soft drumbeat. Children came to her for stories, adults came for advice. She saw people's hearts more clearly than their shadows. One afternoon, she noticed Ton passing by with hurried steps. His face wore frustration. "Young boy," she called, "why do you run as if life is chasing you?" But Ton only muttered, "I have no time, Auntie. I must become rich quickly." Auntie Marembi shook her head slowly. One day, the school announced a big business competition. Each student had to create a small project that could help the community and make profit. The winner would receive a cash prize and a scholarship. Ton's heart jumped. This was his chance to start his journey to riches. Ton immediately signed up. He did not think about the work, he only saw the money. He believed his intelligence alone would make him win. Nothing could stop him, not even his lack of experience. To Ton's surprise, Kofi also joined the competition. Many students laughed behind Kofi's back. "How will he manage with those crutches?" they whispered. But Kofi ignored them. His eyes shone with quiet determination. Ton felt annoyed. "Why is he even trying?" he muttered. Ton believed that the competition was only meant for people like him, strong, fast, and ambitious. Kofi's involvement angered him for reasons he did not understand. During break time, Kofi approached Ton. "What project will you create?" he asked in a friendly tone. Ton frowned. "Something big. Something rich. You wouldn't understand." Kofi did not get angry. Instead, he gently asked, "But will it help people?" Ton blinked, confused. "Help people? I want money." Kofi nodded quietly and said, "Sometimes the road to riches is not the road to meaning." Ton walked away annoyed. That night, Ton dreamed of a river full of gold. He stepped inside to collect treasure, but the gold melted into sand in his hands. A voice whispered, "What you chase blindly will run faster than you." He woke up sweating. The dream bothered him all morning, but he pushed it aside. "It's just a dream," he told himself. "Gold is gold. I will win that competition." While Ton struggled to think of big ideas, Kofi spent time observing the township. He watched how people suffered from carrying heavy water buckets. He noticed the old man selling tomatoes struggle with shade. Kofi wrote everything down in a small notebook. Kofi believed that success meant helping someone breathe easier. His plan grew slowly, but with purpose. He did not chase money. He chased meaning. Ton tried to come up with a giant business plan involving expensive machines and big factories. But every idea turned into something impossible. He grew frustrated and impatient. "Why is this so hard?" he shouted. He refused to think small. "Small projects are for small minds," he said to himself. He believed he was meant for something huge. But the bigger he planned, the more impossible everything became. One afternoon, Ton saw Kofi helping a small child who fell. Despite his weak leg, Kofi bent down slowly, lifted the child, wiped his tears, and gave him a sweet smile. Ton watched silently from a distance. A strange feeling stirred inside him. He wondered how someone with so little strength could still give so much kindness. But he quickly shook off the thought. Kindness doesn't win competitions, he muttered. The deadline grew closer, and Ton had no working plan. His ideas were too big, too costly, and too complicated. He felt embarrassed and angry. Why can't I think of something? He shouted at himself. Meanwhile, Kofi's small notebook was full of simple but powerful ideas. He visited Auntie Marembi for advice, and she encouraged him with her gentle smile. Ton did not know this yet, but the gap between them was widening. Auntie Marembi called Ton one afternoon. "Sit with me," she said. Ton reluctantly agreed. She told him a story about a man who chased wealth until he no longer recognized his own children. The man became rich but empty. "Success without meaning is a cup of water with holes," she said. But Ton shrugged. "I want riches first. Meaning can come later." Auntie Marembi sighed deeply. At the market, Ton saw Kofi talking to traders, asking about their daily struggles. One woman explained how she lost money when rain damaged her fruits. Kofi listened with great care. Ton snorted. "Why waste time with them? They are not rich." But inside, something small and uncomfortable tugged at him. Why did Kofi care so much? Ton's shoe tore as he walked home. He stumbled and almost fell. Kofi, passing by, quickly supported him with his crutch. "Are you okay?" he asked. Ton pulled away, embarrassed. "I don't need help," Ton snapped. But he knew he did. Kofi nodded kindly and walked away slowly. Ton felt ashamed but didn't understand why. That night, Ton lay on his bed unable to sleep. Images of Kofi's kindness, Auntie Marembi's wisdom, and his own failures filled his mind. He felt confused, frustrated, and lost. "What am I missing?" he whispered to himself. But no answer came. Only silence. Kofi began building something with wood, rope, and small wheels. He walked slowly because of his leg, but his hands were steady. The small project started taking shape. Ton saw him from a distance but refused to ask. He believed Kofi's project would be weak and easy to beat. But fear slowly began creeping into Ton's heart. Ton finally attempted a large project, a miniature machine that was supposed to produce soap. But it broke apart within minutes. He shouted in anger and kicked it until it shattered completely. "Why is nothing working?" he cried. But the answer was simple: he was building from pride, not purpose. The next day, Ton sat alone under the big mango tree behind the school. His eyes were tired from thinking too much. Auntie Marembi approached him quietly and sat beside him. "Your mind is heavy," she said softly. "Too heavy for a boy your age." Ton didn't respond. Auntie Marembi continued, "You chase riches like a man running after wind. But tell me, what will fill your heart when the wind slips through your fingers?" Her words sank deep into Ton's troubled mind. When Kofi saw Ton sitting alone, he walked toward him slowly. "Are you okay?" he asked. Ton didn't answer. Kofi then asked gently, "Do you want to see what I'm building?" For the first time, Ton felt a sting of jealousy. "Why should I?" he snapped. "I don't want your advice." Kofi stayed calm, but Ton felt ashamed inside. The truth was, he did want help, but pride blocked his mouth like a stone. Later that day, Kofi showed his project to Auntie Marembi. It was a simple trolley made from wood and small wheels. It could carry heavy water buckets easily. Auntie Marembi's eyes shone with pride. "This is beautiful," she said. "Something so small can change many lives." Kofi smiled shyly. He had built it with love, not greed. Auntie Marembi blessed him gently. Ton watched from afar, pretending not to care. But deep inside, envy twisted like a rope around his heart. He saw Kofi's project helping people. He saw appreciation in Auntie Marembi's eyes. Something inside Ton whispered, "You are losing." He felt the urge to destroy Kofi's project, but he fought the dark thought. Why am I thinking like this? He wondered, but fear and jealousy were growing stronger each day. That night, a heavy storm hit the township. Thunder roared like angry drums in the sky. Ton could not sleep. He kept hearing Auntie Marembi's wisdom and seeing Kofi's quiet smile. The rain washed away dust from the roads, but Ton felt like nothing could wash away the dust from his heart. He realized he was lost in dreams that no longer made him happy. At school the next day, Ton walked slower than ever. His confidence had melted like wax in the sun. When he saw Kofi struggling with his crutches in the muddy compound, something inside Ton softened. For the first time in a long while, he wanted to help someone. But fear held him back. What if he laughs at me? Ton wondered. He didn't know that Kofi's heart was too kind to ever laugh at pain. Auntie Marembi called Ton again. "My son," she said gently, "you are fighting with yourself, not with the world." Ton looked confused. She touched his shoulder. "Your anger is eating your strength. Your envy is blocking your eyes. If you don't let go, your spirit will break." Ton swallowed hard. He felt the truth in her words. That evening, Ton sat on his bed thinking deeply. He thought about Kofi's smile, Auntie Marembi's wisdom, and his own empty dreams. He made a decision: he would try again, but this time with a humble heart. "I will build something simple," he whispered. "Something helpful. Something real." It was the first time he thought of others before himself. Ton walked to the workshop behind the school. He picked up wood, nails, and rope. His hands shook at first, but he kept going. This time, he didn't chase greatness, he chased purpose. He decided to make small shelves that traders could use in the market. Many complained about scattered goods. Ton felt a spark of hope. "This might help someone," he said softly. Kofi passed by the workshop and saw Ton walking. His eyebrows lifted with surprise. "You're building something?" he asked softly. Ton nodded, embarrassed but honest. "That's good," Kofi said with a warm smile. "If you need help, I'm here." Ton felt something break inside his pride. And it left freedom in its place. The next day, Kofi offered to sand the wood while Ton hammered the shelves together. Their hands moved differently but toward the same purpose. For the first time, Ton felt teamwork. They talked about dreams, fears, and ideas. Ton realized that Kofi's strength was not in his legs but in his heart. The friendship many thought impossible began to bloom quietly. When Auntie Marembi saw them working together, her old eyes sparkled with joy. She blessed their hands and prayed for wisdom. "Two hands can build, but two hearts can change the world," she said. Ton felt proud, but not the empty kind of pride he once chased. This pride came from doing something meaningful. The week of the competition arrived. Panic swept through the school as students rushed to finish their projects. But Ton and Kofi were calm. They had finished early and spent the remaining days testing and improving their ideas. For the first time in months, Ton felt peace. He slept well and woke up smiling. His dreams no longer frightened him. He no longer chased wind, he chased meaning. Students whispered that Ton and Kofi were now friends. Some laughed. Some were confused. But Ton no longer cared. He realized that true friendship was more valuable than opinions. Kofi's quiet wisdom guided him, and Ton's strength helped Kofi. Together, they made a strong team. The judges arrived early to inspect the project. Ton felt nervous, but Kofi placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You did well," he said. "Whatever happens, be proud. Ton nodded. He no longer feared losing. He feared returning to the empty boy he once was. Students presented their projects one by one. Some were creative, some were flashy, and some barely worked. When Kofi demonstrated his water trolley, the crowd gasped. It moved smoothly even with heavy weight. When Ton showed his market shelves, the judges nodded with approval. Very useful, one said. Simple, strong, and thoughtful. Ton smiled with gratitude, not pride. After all the presentations, the school gathered under the big acacia tree to hear the results. Ton felt his heart beating fast. Kofi held his crutch tightly. Auntie Marembi stood near them, smiling gently. The headmaster took out the envelope with the winners' names. Silence fell like a blanket. Kofi and Ton, the headmaster announced, are the joint winners. The crowd erupted in cheers. No one expected two very different boys to win in his eyes. Kofi laughed softly in surprise. Auntie Marembi lifted her hands in joy. Unity is wealth, she whispered. The scholarship and prize money were awarded to both boys. Ton held his certificates with trembling hands. For the first time, he felt rich because he had earned something with honesty and heart. Kofi smiled at him. We did this together. Ton nodded. Yes. Together. And he meant it deeply. As the boys walked home, people cheered for them. Traders thanked them for their helpful projects. Children admired them. Even adults bowed their heads with respect. Ton realized that greatness was not about being feared. It was about being valued. That night, Ton lay awake, but this time in gratitude, not confusion. He remembered the jealousy, the anger, and the pride that almost destroyed him. Now, he had a friend, a purpose, and a future that felt meaningful. Riches mean nothing without heart, he whispered. While walking home the next day, Kofi stumbled. His leg hurt more than usual. Ton rushed to help him. You're tired, he said. Kofi nodded. Sometimes I wish I had strong legs like you. Ton felt a deep ache in his heart. He realized that everyone carried invisible battles. Auntie Marembi invited the boys to her hut and gave them warm porridge. Life gives everyone a wound, she said. But some wounds make hearts stronger. Ton held Kofi's hand. You're the strongest person I know. Kofi smiled shyly. The boys spent more time together, helping each other in school and at home. Their bond grew deeper, built on respect and kindness. Ton helped Kofi walk up hills, and Kofi helped Ton understand life. Their hearts balanced each other. Ton formed a new dream, not of riches alone, but of making things that helped people. He wanted to build tools, machines, and ideas that brought ease to the township. Kofi encouraged him. Your hands are strong enough to build change. Ton felt proud again, but this time the pride was clean. One afternoon, Ton returned to the workshop and found his shelves broken by mischievous boys. His heart sank. Tears filled his eyes. Kofi placed a hand on his shoulder. Pain builds heart, he said gently. Ton knew he was right. They rebuilt everything together. As they rebuilt, Ton grew frustrated again. This is too slow, he shouted. Kofi remained calm, sanding wood slowly. There is no speed in wisdom, Kofi said. Only direction. Ton breathed deeply and continued. A man from the city visited the school. He saw Kofi's trolley and Ton's shelves. He was impressed. He offered to sponsor their future studies in technical design. Ton's heart jumped. Kofi's eyes filled with tears. This is only the beginning, the man said. When they told Auntie Marembi, she cried softly. My sons, she said, my heart is full. The world will remember you. She hugged them both. Her embrace felt like a warm blanket around their spirits. On the school's closing day, Kofi and Tunde gave a talk on kindness, purpose, and teamwork. Students listened with wide eyes. Tunde said, "I chased money, but I found meaning." Kofi added, "Success is not walking fast. It is walking far, with others." As months passed, the boys were invited to different events to share their ideas. Tunde grew confident, and Kofi grew wiser. They became symbols of hope in their township. People looked up to them, not for riches, but for heart. One morning, Tunde received a letter. It offered them a chance to join a big innovation camp in the city. Kofi received the same letter. Tunde jumped with excitement. "Our future is calling," he shouted. Kofi smiled softly. "Let's answer it together." The day came. With small bags and big dreams, the boys left the township. Auntie Marembi waved from the road, her heart full of both joy and sadness. Kofi looked back. "We will return stronger," he promised. The city Tunde nodded in agreement. Bright and fast. Tunde felt overwhelmed. Cars zoomed past. People rushed everywhere. Kofi clung to his crutches, trying to keep balance. Tunde immediately held his arm. "Stay close," he said. Kofi nodded. At the camp, the boys faced hard tasks. They had to build new inventions every week. Tunde struggled at first. Kofi struggled physically but never mentally. But together, they found solutions, with patience, teamwork, and determination. Together, they created a strong, lightweight trolley with adjustable height, a project inspired by Kofi's struggles and the township's needs. Teachers were amazed. One said, "Your invention will help thousands." Tunde's heart swelled with pride, not selfish pride, but pride of purpose. They were chosen to present before city leaders. Tunde spoke about dreams. Kofi spoke about meaning. Their voices filled the hall with truth. The crowd applauded them. Some even cried. Their message touched many hearts. They won first place. The prize included scholarships, grants, and support for their inventions. Tunde hugged Kofi tightly. "We did it," he shouted. Kofi laughed. "Yes, and we did it with heart." When they returned home, the whole township came out to celebrate them. Music played. Children danced. Women ululated. Auntie Marembi proudly lifted their certificates. "These are my sons," she said joyfully. With their funds, the boys built a big workshop in the township. They hired people, trained children, and created tools to make life easier for everyone. People no longer struggled with buckets or cluttered stalls. The township began to grow. One evening, Tunde stood outside watching the sunset paint the sky. He realized he felt rich, not because of money but because of meaning. He whispered, "Kofi, I finally understand. Riches are not gold. Riches are purpose." Kofi smiled at him. "And purpose grows bigger when you walk with someone," he said softly. Tunde felt his eyes warm with tears. They had walked far, farther than Tunde ever dreamed. And they were not done yet. Years later, Auntie Marembi would sit under the mango tree and tell children the story of Tunde and Kofi. She spoke of pride, purpose, kindness, and unity. "Success," she would say, "is not measured by coins in your pocket, but by lives touched by your heart." And so, the story of the two boys who chased meaning became a folktale passed from one generation to the next.